Right now, we'd like to bring on a young man who believes in doing things his own way. And based on the way he kind of get next to all of the folks who've seen him work, his way has got to be pretty hip. So let's lay some noise.
Listen on me,
2000 and
to fight
beyond.
for this so-called democracy. But when I get back down to
All right, so what is your record now for Bucs attendance? What is your record for the Bucs? Yeah.
For last games, my attendance record is 7-18.
7.
If I was a coach, you would have fired my ass a while ago.
7-18. That's that ain't great. What was the last game you went to though?
The last game I went to was this past year. Was it New Orleans that was last? Let's see, that was in October. I did 3 games in 3 weeks last year. So
Okay.
starting on September 22nd, which is my birthday, I was at that Giants game where we missed on the field goal at the end
God, yeah,
for
man.
Rondé Barber's induction. So I was at that game. And then the following week, I went to Los Angeles. So for the Buccaholics big tailgate when Warren Sapp showed up, I was at that game. We won that game. And then the following week, I went to New Orleans. So we saw 1 win last year.
Yeah, that's all disappointing. Well, yeah, we got the big game, and which was a huge thing with the tailgate with the Buccaholics. That was huge.
It was a blast. I missed 80% of it because I don't drink anymore, and I drank, and I missed like a lot of the tailgate.
So you missed most of the tailgate because you were pre-gaming?
No, because I was hungover.
Because that was a damn good time. You missed the rest of the good time.
Okay, but I don't drink anymore, so you guys all know Jeannie, red-haired Jeannie, big Bucs fan in Cali. I'll show you a picture. You know her if I showed you, but Jeannie and I were rooming with one of the other Buccaholics captains from New Mexico, and well, we had a meet and greet the night before, and everyone was doing drinks and stuff, and yeah, I kept like, I don't drink much, and they're like, no, you got this, and then I was like, okay, I'll be there at 6 a.m. to help the team set up. Nope. I showed up like an hour before we went into the game. But at least I was there for Warren Sapp, and I got to help him, go up to the balcony so he could do his thing. So it was fun. But yeah, that's why Nikki doesn't drink anymore.
Oh my God! Oh, you escorting a freaking Hall of Fame Bucs player up the stairs to get up on the balcony. That sounds scary as hell.
No, it was fun. It was cool. I mean, I was behind him, so it was like Art AO Train from the Buccaholics was leading the way and kind of pushing people all the way, and I was standing kind of behind him just to help clear the path and stuff. And then since I'm a captain for the Buccaholics, I got to go up there and be on the balcony while Sapp was up there doing his thing. It was cool.
That's great. That's fun. That was one thing I was actually hoping I would have gotten a chance to actually go and experience, because that was a big build up to that. I mean, of course, it was like a year in the making, and everybody pulled it off well. It was a pretty big event. I wish I could have gotten out there. I ended up working. So I couldn't travel, but I did get to watch the game, which was it was a hell of a game. So
yeah, that was so fun. We had so much fun that whole weekend, and I wasn't actually supposed to go to that game. I got free tickets. One of my best friends is a Saints fan, but her stepfather has season tickets to the Rams. And so I had planned to do, obviously, the Giants for my birthday. And then 2 weeks later, her and I, the same best friend, she's a Saints fan, so we're going to go to New Orleans. And it just so happened that her stepfather was like, hey, I have 2 tickets to the Rams game. Does Nikki want them? And I'm like, okay, like, what do you want for you? It's like, no, I'm not going to use them. Just take them. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, well, I have flight points. I can get there for free. I got free tickets to the game, and I know 150 fucking. Can I cuss on this? I'm sorry.
You there? I'm a cuss with you. I'll join you. We're good.
Okay. I was like, well, there's like 150 fucking people I know. Somebody will let me like bunk with them, because This is kind of last second. So I freaking booked a flight. I left my kid, and I freaking went, and I'm glad I did, because it turned out to be one of like the best games ever. Just the whole experience was awesome, even though I was hungover and missed the tailgate.
That's fucking dope. See, I'm joining you.
Okay, good.
Right. And I mean, that's exactly why I really wanted to speak to you. I mean, because you are what I consider a hardcore Bucs fan. And there's not a lot of you around. Actually, I apologize. There are a lot of you around. You're just one of the more unique ones that I've been able to come across. And I end up hearing you I think on another person's podcast. And you and I ended up becoming relatively cool. We started being able to recognize each other, and we actually ran into each other at a game in Tampa at the Bucs tailgate.
You and my mom.
You and your mom. Yeah, you and your mom. I ended up crossing you guys and immediately recognized each other, and we started talking and so forth.
Oh, yeah. I've seen you a few times, too, since then.
Yeah, and again, I mean, and you have and you're in New Mexico.
Yeah, from New Mexico, born and raised.
Born and raised there. How in the hell did you become a Bucs fan in New Mexico? Like, what started you?
So the story is, like, the short version is technically I was raised a Broncos fan. Both of my parents are Broncos fans. My dad's really hardcore Broncos fan. The difference is when I was growing up, he didn't teach me the game of football. It was just go Broncos, fuck the Cowboys. Like, that's all you need to know when it comes to football. And a lot of times I would be asking him, like, well, what happened? But my dad, like, he's like me now. Like, you just zone in on the game and you don't even hear people talking to you, you know? So he never answered my questions. So I never learned the game. It was just go Broncos, fuck the Cowboys. That's all I had to know. So actually, I'm kind of in a sense a bandwagoner because I picked the Bucs during the Super Bowl. So I was about 11 or 12 when the Bucs were in the Super Bowl, and I was watching the game with my dad like before the game, and I was like, "So who are you going for? Who do you think's gonna win?" And he goes, "I think I'm gonna go for the Raiders." And I was like, "Cool, I'm going for the other team just to kind of make it fun, you know." And then they won, and I just kind of stuck with it ever since. But kind of when I got a little older, kind of more towards high school, is when I really started to follow the game and follow the team closely, and really started to learn. Like, I really wanted to understand the game. And once I learned, thanks to Derek from What the Buck, I watched him for years. And then obviously you know that Derek and I are very close. My son's name is Derek. So
again, hardcore Bucs fan. Only a hardcore Bucs fan would do
Derek
that.
School, he's top people in my book. He's one of my best friends. I adore him with all my heart. But yeah, so it was actually a lot of stuff with Derek, and then, you know, fans like you who are very knowledgeable, just, you know, learning to watch film for myself, and learning the game and learning the nuances and the kind of the chess match. I fell in love with the game. And that's where I really became really active as a fan. I mean, I always rooted for the team, but once I understood it, my passion just grew for the team. So that's kind of the story. So I kind of, in a sense, am a bandwagon, but anybody who's been on this bandwagon since then has known that this has been a shit show.
Nah, but, you know, I can't call you a bandwagon. I mean, maybe your origin, you might think of yourself as a bandwagoner because you jumped in, you know, because of a winning season and so forth.
No, you know, I didn't know what I was picking. I didn't know the history at that point of the trade for Gruden, and, you know, I didn't know all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of blindly went for it, and then they won, and I just kind of stuck with it. But
well, it was a solid choice. I mean, it was, and again, that was like the number one defense versus number one offense. So a lot of people would have picked the offense to win with the Raiders and so forth. So I mean, it wasn't like it was a you know, shooting fish in a barrel. Like, you know, you can't lose on taking this gamble on the team. So.
Right, for sure. So that's kind of my origin story as a fan. That's funny as hell. I'm not gonna lie, that's funny. But you stuck with it and you stayed a Bucs fan, and you've been a Bucs fan and one of the more knowledgeable Bucs fans that I've been able to run into and most passionate. And I hate to throw that word around loosely, but I remember in the conversation, I don't even think the conversation was with me. It was it might have been on What the Bucs podcast, when you were just like, I want to do anything I can possibly do to see this team win and help the team. Like, you were talking about moving to Tampa. Yeah,
you know, and
it's kind of sad for me almost, because I went, you know, being young, and it took me 9 years to get a bachelor's degree. And that was just because I didn't really have any direction in what I wanted to do with my life. And once I was like, you know, I'm passionate about the Bucs, and I have no athletic experience really. I'm not a medical person to go into athletic training or anything like that. So I'm kind of like, you know, working in the sports world for me was very unattainable for a long time, or just wasn't really an idea that crossed my mind. I just didn't think it was possible. And then I decided one day, you know, why not? why can't I do this? Why can't I go work for the Bucs? You know? And so I went back to school and I put my head down. Actually, yeah, I had that conversation with Brian Ford. I think I actually talked to him about it in that photo. But, you know, my ultimate dream, I went back to school, I put my head down, and I finished quickly. I guess within 3 years, I finished my bachelor's degree after completely changing subjects. And in that same 3 years, got a master's degree in sports administration. So my ultimate goal was finish school here because it's cheap, and then move to Florida and do anything I possibly can to get my foot in the door with the Bucs. I don't care if I'm applying for CEO or janitor. Like, I'm going to get my foot in the door, and I'm going to get there somehow. And I know that I can contribute to the success. I mean, I can't contribute to the success on the field, but I can contribute to the success of maybe like fan engagement or fan relations or member relations and those kinds of things that I have, you know, passion about. I love the way I feel about the Bucs, and I want others to feel the way I feel. So that's kind of where my passion came. And, you know, we really were moving to Tampa a couple years ago, and life just has thrown so many obstacles at us that we're a little bit behind schedule. And I'm actually kind of scared now for the first time in my life that like I may not actually make it to work for the Bucs. And it kind of breaks my heart a little bit. You know, and my boyfriend was like, what's your plan B? And I'm like, I never had a plan B because plan A, like I was going to do whatever it took to get to plan A, you know?
Right.
So
that's what winners do, though. Winners don't make a whole. That's what winners do. That's what people who are super passionate about what they do and actually have a strong intent on doing it. That's kind of what they do. Like they make contingency plans to make plan A work, but not
even if
not
it doesn't
to bail
go
out
on the straight path. You know, you do this and you get there. And I think that as I'm getting older and moving is not as simple as I would hope it would be. You know, my life's a lot different now than it was a couple years ago when I was single and didn't have a kid and I could focus on just me. So it's really kind of sad for me, actually, to kind of realize that, like, this may not work out the way I planned.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'll get there. Maybe I can. I still want to move to Florida, and that's still, as a family, that's our ultimate goal. But I don't know if I'll get to the position that I wanted to be. So that's kind of sad for me, actually, but you know, my passion is still there, and if I can get there, I'm going to get there. I
mean, until you lose the passion to do it or completely have doubts about the passion you have, I don't think there's a huge issue. You still think you can make it. You still feel like you can. It's
I feel like because and the reason I feel like the window is closing a little bit is just because I'm now, let's see, I'm really bad with years. I think it's been almost 3. I think I'm going on 3 years since I got my master's. So I just turned 30. And I have, in 3 years, I haven't done anything in the sports world. So when I was in school, I was interning with, you know, our college team here, and I was doing I was getting some experience like on the field and doing that kind of stuff. And so I'm 3 years removed from that now. And I don't see me moving I hopefully within 3 years, I want to make sure that my son is in kindergarten in Florida and not here. So I have, you know, 4 years to make this happen. But you were now looking at a 34-year-old, right? And 34 with a master's degree that hasn't done anything in 6 years with any sports organization versus a 24-year-old who just came out of school, who just did a bunch of internships. Like, I just feel like the probability of me getting that position as I get older is like that window is closing. So that's kind of where my fear comes from. Yeah. Sorry, that's kind of like not Bucs related.
No, that is Bucs related. I mean, this is strongly about your passion for the Bucs. I mean, again, being a few years removed out of school and not doing exactly what you think you'd be doing or want to be doing, that's literally just being out of college. Like, that's honest to goodness. No matter what year you go to, no matter what age you start at, when people move and get done with college, once they move away from school and so forth, it's literally a few years before you get to where you think you want to be or where you think you should be. So,
I'm not saying that I was going to go and be there. You know, like I said, if I had to be a janitor, I was going to get my foot in that door somehow.
Right.
But I think that, you know, somebody who's 34 who has, in a sense, a career at this point where, like, if I stay with the job I'm with currently, I'm going to be making X amount of money. And to transition even to like an entry level position, I'd either take a huge pay cut or I'd be too expensive and there's somebody cheaper. So, I mean, it's the business side of things that we see with players constantly. Like, why would they? Well, we signed a 41-year-old quarterback, so maybe, I don't know.
42, I think, right? 42.
42, right? Whatever.
Hey,
maybe
man.
I have a chance.
Hey, good things can happen at a late age. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I
But
know
I'm
about
glad
it.
that you remember that conversation. It's kind of an interesting thing that you still remembered.
No, I
How it's going.
I just remember for maybe the fifth time so far already the passion that he was speaking with, and that's why I say it's a unique thing for me to hear, especially coming from, again, someone who's not from the state, somebody who maybe did or did not grow up as a Bucs fan, which I didn't know until you just mentioned it, and also being a female, a single female at the time, because a lot of times if you try to correlate, women, or especially, you try to correlate women with their, fandom, you would think that they got introduced by maybe a male counterpart or a father or something like that, but you were neither. I mean, that's why you...
I will tell you that when I was in high school, my high school sweetheart was a Bucs fan.
Oh.
And so he's really the person who took time to teach me the game that, like, my dad never did.
Okay.
But he was a Bucs fan and I was a Bucs fan, right?
Right. And now you're the Bucs princess.
Yeah, I should have put my tiara on, huh? Feels a little naked. Just kidding.
I know, right? It's one of the few times I haven't seen you with it. So cool. So let's go back real quick. Now, we were talking about, again, how the record was just iffy. I use the word iffy for the, your attendance going to games. What was the big Buccaholics in LA? Was that like the biggest memory that you have as far as Bucs games go?
Okay, I will say that since the Buccaholics, I mean, a lot of my real fond memories go to, being in Tampa with What the Bucs tailgate and being there for home games and just being around Bucs fans. Like, I'll never forget my first time at Ray J. Was versus the Chargers, I would say maybe 2011-ish. I'm really bad with years, but the first time I went there, I was with my friend who's a Chargers fan, and we went to the game, and I walked in, and I was just like, oh, my God, these people get me.
I'm home.
Like, can I take them home with me? Because they understand me, and that's a fond memory. But the Buccaholics, we've done some amazing things with our tailgates, and the memories that you just see ripple through social media from Buccaholics tailgates. I mean, What the Buck does a really awesome job in Florida. Never to take away from what they do, because that is iconic, what they've done and what they've built.
Hall of Fame tailgate.
Equally, for being displaced fans, the things that the Buccaholics have pulled off have created some really amazing memories for me. The Warren Sapp thing at the big, LA tailgate was one, but even just the Red Sea in San Diego a couple of years ago when the whole lower bowl was covered in red. I don't know if you made it to. I don't think you made it.
I
to that
didn't make
game.
it. Nah.
But after that game, we won, right? And at Qualcomm, they had, and Ray J West, right? That's our Ray J West stadium there. But so bottom level, and then you kind of come out into a hallway before you go up the stairs into like where the main level is. In this hallway, we had Bucs fans just parading around like we won the fucking Super Bowl. Jumping, Tampa Bay chants, and it was just like the most, that passion that we talk about, you could feel it in the air. Everyone was just so pumped that we won that game. And like, it's just like I said, it felt like we won the Super Bowl, but we just beat the Chargers. Like, but that kind of camaraderie and that passion in the air, in that tunnel, the loudness, it was just one of my favorite memories for sure as a Bucs fan.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really beat the feeling of winning, especially for me coming out of Ray J. Now that I'm thinking about that, I'm like, you know what? It just hit me, and it hit me hard. Like, holy crap! I was supposed to go to all these away games last year. I've yet to go to an away game as a Bucs fan.
Never?
Never.
Well, we got to get you seasoned. I have been to 15 NFL stadiums if you include where the hell is LA, the Coliseum. Okay. If you consider that an NFL stadium, I've been to 15.
Gosh. Yeah, I was supposed to go to, of course, I'm now here. I was just telling you, I'm like literally less than 7 minutes away from the stadium here in Atlanta.
I'm excited to go there. I want to see that stadium. I bet it's fantastic. And I'm not drinking because I will get arrested in Atlanta.
I'm telling you, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can actually let you not drink. I'll take care of you. I'll watch out for you. I know your boyfriend, he'll be there too, maybe. But I'll make sure you're safe. But I can't let you come out here and just be a sober gopher like that.
Well, I can drink. I just have to control myself. Shots are not my friends.
Nah, shot. Well, we'll see.
Beers are just fine. We can drink beer all night long. I can't drink no shots.
No, I'll let you take care of the beer. I'll take the rest of the liquors. Plural,
all right.
Plural
Deal.
liquors. But no, I mean it's just a completely different feeling and such a feeling of harmony. These are corny sounding words, I know, to a lot of people, but the unity and the harmony of fans walking out after a win.
But that's where my passion comes from. When I talk about wanting to work for the Bucs, it's because I want to spread that passion. Like, I want other people to feel the way I feel, you know? And it's that exactly the word, the harmony, the unity, the camaraderie, that's what means the most to me, honestly. And I think maybe we'll move towards a topic about this, but like that's what being a Bucs fan is for me. It's the relationships, it's the experiences. In complete honesty, I don't give a fuck if they win or lose. That's not true. I do care that they win, but but as an overall feeling, I don't give a fuck if they win or lose. Like, I'm a Bucs fan. I'm there for the brand. I'm there for the experience, and I'm there for the relationships. Like, that means more to me. Obviously, I always want them to win, but
yeah, I was not going to
root for them to lose. But at the same time, like, as a Bucs fan, that's where my fandom sits now. It's in these things that you and I are doing right now.
Right. Now, I was not going to let you slide by with I just want to see an exciting game, and I don't care if they win or lose. Shit, that was not going to happen. I promise you. That's not happening. Because I get that now. Because I was actually, this is again one of the conversations you and I actually had when I tweeted you to ask if you would come on. Because you and I feel differently about that, about last season, and possibly, no, it was last season definitely, where a lot of fans just kind of felt, I'm just happy to be excited. I'm just excited. I'm excited to see an exciting game. I just, if they lose, as long as it's exciting. And I was like, time out. Like, this isn't what we were supposed to be looking at, a playoff berth. We were supposed to be looking at, a winning team and so forth. And I felt a little bit different about it. And you within your own right, and you are definitely welcome to the opinion. And I want to talk. I want to hear from you more about it. It's not always. Has it always been that way though? That
No, it hasn't. It's probably been the last 3 years that I think my fandom has changed a little bit. It's probably why you haven't seen me out as much as I used to be. Life is a little different for me, but I'm not as active. Our fan base, as much as I love Bucs fans, they are so draining, and I don't know how you keep composure and still deal with them sometimes.
You check me out on Reddit. I'm not composed. Check me out on some of these other things. I swear to you.
I don't understand Reddit. I don't know. That's a different beast. But
it is.
I'll stick to Twitter. But it has. Like, I didn't used to be. I was that person. I mean, you knew this. I was on podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
I was always tweeting about the film I was watching or this and that, and every little detail that came out from the team, I was on it. Nobody could tweet me or text me and say, "Hey, did you hear that?" I'm like, dude, I'm on it 5 minutes ago. Like, where have you been? I'm already past it. And I found that I was stressing myself out. I found that I wasn't eating when we'd lose a game, or I wasn't sleeping because I was stressed or I was irritated or I couldn't, you know what I mean? And I had to take a step back. And again, it's not in terms of my fandom for the brand or for the team per se, but I had to take a step back and just kind of chill a little bit because I realized that when they don't live up to my expectations, it was really affecting me. So I've kind of morphed into this position of I don't have any expectations. Like, I'm not drinking the fucking Kool-Aid. I remember drinking the Kool-Aid during Shiano's introductory press conference and thinking of how awesome our shit was going to be because of that press conference. And this, like, how bad did that shit turn out, And it's like, okay, Shiano and Tom Brady are different beasts, I get it, but how many times on paper have we looked like we're a playoff contender and we shit the bed. Like, I'm kind of jaded, like, and I hate to admit that, but I'm a little bit jaded. And I just, for me, again, watch parties every week with my local group. Going to games, the experience and the relationships is what I'm there about. If we went to a watch party and the game sucked and was boring and we lost, that just sucks. Like, yeah. But if I was entertained, like, and I had fun, and for me, like, it's not a win, but I'm not all pissed off about it the way I used to be. And so for me, it was kind of like almost a health issue because I was just really, I just caught up like way too much. And I was getting mad over shit that I couldn't control. And so I kind of relinquished all that control. Like whether I want them to sign this person or retain this person or cut, it don't matter what I want. They're going to do it their way. Like I'm not there. And so I just kind of like put my trust in them and they know what they're doing. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, well, we'll try again next year. And that's kind of where I've come from. It's like, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid anymore. I'm not doing it because I set my expectations too high and then I fall so hard. And I know the entire fan base does, but for me, I had to pull back.
I mean, that's a smart decision too, because I know a lot of people who express the exact same sentiment. Like they really do. There are people who, honest to goodness, like we play on Sunday, we lose on Sunday. They don't come around to being worth a damn until Thursday. Like till the next NFL game comes on, where it's the only thing that they can think about, the Thursday night game or something like that. Like they just don't come around and they hate everything. They're just completely miserable. For me, luckily, I was never that way. I think in the last few years, it's probably been like 2 or 3 games where I'm just like, well, I just can't believe how bad the game turned out. I can't believe, and again, the game cannot even be a blowout. It can be like a game that we lost by 3 points, one possession.
Like that Giants game on that stupid field goal.
So let me tell you, I was so pissed. And that's why I was like really upset about the coaching. I'm like, timeout. Like we scored 3 points in the second half. We showed up, looked like absolute juggernauts in the first half. And then got completely pierced by a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know if it's me, but I've been to those games like the Washington game several years ago.
Oh, God.
I have never been to a game where every single fucking thing went our way. Every single fucking thing went our way. We were beasting, man. 5 minutes after halftime. And Chris, my boyfriend, is a Redskins fan. So he had a last-minute emergency. He couldn't go. I went by myself. Not by myself. I always have friends, but went by myself. So I'm sitting there by myself and we're texting back and forth. And he's like, babe, you guys got this. Your team's going to win. And I'm like, nope. 5 minutes after halftime, I was like, nope, we're going to lose this game. And he's like, no, you guys are fine. There's a lot of time. You guys, and I'm like, no, we're going to lose this game. And he goes, but I know my team. And I said, trust me, I know my team better. And they came back and they beat us after we kicked their ass. And I can tell you, like I said, it's like you said, 3 points in the second half. I've been to these games. I sat there through one of my first away games was in Candlestick, where both teams, it was the year after our 10-6 with Raheem.
Okay.
The year after it's game 5 of the season. Bucs and Niners were both 3-1. Mm-hmm. I'm going to this game like, this is going to be fucking awesome. Like, even if we lose, like, this is going to be great. Fuck no, dude. 48 to goddamn 3. Like, I went the next day and got my first Bucs tattoo after that game in San Francisco.
That's pretty damn bold.
Which was fun because the guy who tattooed me, we beat them the week before.
Oh, my God.
His team, whatever it was, the Lions, I think.
I'm trying to think. The worst game that I remember seeing in person, I think, God, you know what it had to be? It had to have been the game against the Ravens at Raymond James. When literally, that wasn't a damn thing that went our way in that game. What year was that? That was 2013, 14 was one of, I think it was. I
don't remember. I'm bad with years, God. Like what year, what happened. I don't know. I'm not very good at stuff like that, but.
Yeah, 48 to 17. That was Lovey. That was Lovey's 2-14 season, and I swear to Moses.
This is my point. We're bringing back the crew and got all this hype, and I get that. That's what the marketing team is supposed to do. We're supposed to be hype, I'm tired. I'm tired of drinking the Kool-Aid and being completely heartbroken every game. Yeah. And so for me, taking that step back was a way to be like, I'm still here. I'm still 100%, but it's not going to affect me the way that it used to. And so my tagline is, as long as the game was fun and competitive, I'm not going to have a bad day about it. Even though I never would root for them to lose, obviously. I always care that they win, but in some ways, the relationships, the experience, that shit outweighs to me what happens on the scoreboard.
And again, I truly commend you on having the sense to take a step back. Yourself, as a matter of fact, all the smart Buccaneers fans that I have a high level of admiration for did the same. Chris Fisher, of former Bucs Brief podcast, he did the same.
Love me some Chris Fisher, yep.
Oh, you already mentioned Derek Fournier of What the Buck podcast. He did the same. It's just a smart move when you know yourself and you know well enough to not get yourself caught up. There are people right now. We are almost, we're 3 weeks removed? About 3 weeks removed of a big move, of a big roster shakeup for a lot of people with the quarterback leaving and so forth. There are people every single day that are absolutely rooting against the team. Now, at this point, no matter what, they bring up a lot of stuff, some of it valid, like honest questions, like some of these questions are valid, but they let it affect them so badly, like they completely come off as just horrible, miserable people. It's miserable people.
It's hard, especially like for people who like will use Jameis, right? Like a lot of the people who help support his charity things, like they have personal relationships with him. Mm-hmm. I get it. That shit sucks. I've never met Jameis, but I've met his father, and I don't know. I'm his father and his little brother and somebody else in the airport. I don't know. They were the nicest people, and like I can only imagine the more time you spend with people, seeing them leave is heartbreaking. I get it. But we don't have control, and I don't see, like, if you want to follow him and not follow him in fandom, but follow him and support him, I don't see a problem with that. But you're like, in my opinion, if you're a Bucs fan, your loyalty is to the brand. I'm not a big Tom Brady fan personally, but he plays for my team, and if he's going to make my team better, then he has my support, you know?
Exactly, and I say the same thing, the exact same sentiment. I said this. I had Hall of Fame Bucs fan. I had Big Nasty. I had Big Nasty on last week, and I told him the exact same thing.
Ooh, I get to follow Big Nasty.
Yo.
Those are shoes I cannot fill.
You doing it, Ma. You doing it. Nah, but seriously, the thing was, like, same thing. I've never been a big Tom Brady fan myself, but if someone else, we were talking about the whole bandwagon fan deal and people who are just following the Bucs now because Tom Brady's here. I'm like, I don't have an issue with it whatsoever, because if someone is following Tom Brady and they're wishing Tom Brady the best and wishing he's winning and he's on the team that I'm rooting for, damn it, why the hell can't we be shoulder to shoulder and be rooting together? We both want the same thing. We want Tom Brady to win. It means one thing for you and it means one thing for me, but it means winning.
I think that my only concern is, especially with Brady and being Florida, is that I don't want to see a bunch of Patriots jerseys in our stadium.
Can I tell you?
That was my only concern. Like, if you're a Patriots fan supporting Tom Brady and you live in Tampa and you're rooting for the Bucs to win because that's where Brady is, okay, I get it, but we already have shitty fans, and I don't need to see a bunch of New England transplants flocking to our stadium in Patriots jerseys. That would be my drawback. Obviously, if you're going to root for my team, I want you to root for my team, but I want you to, like, root for my team, you know?
Right. You know what's funny, though? I mean, you've been to Raymond James. You can spot so many random freaking jerseys, especially Patriots jerseys.
Yeah.
Like, what
I'm not really concerned with location and the situation, right? Like, situational aspects that impact that bandwagon thing, you know? That our situation is unique because we have a lot of transplants from up north.
Right.
So that's my concern. But if you want to be a new fan and you want to be, you're so diehard Tom Brady that you'll support the team that he plays for, great.
Yeah, seriously. But I'm with you on this whole, showing up in a Patriots jersey thing. I mean, I get it. It'll make me laugh. I'm not going to get upset about it, but I'm like, yo, just wear a T-shirt, man. just wear a braided T-shirt. I get it. I get it. You want to spend, another $150 on an authentic Nike Elite jersey, what have you, but get a T-shirt that says braid on the back. They sell those. Get a TB12 T-shirt. Don't. Yeah. You got them in Tampa Bay colors.
Wear him all you want. I'm good with it. Like,
right. Just don't come here looking like an idiot.
I think for me, I think what's frustrating, especially like where I live and being so displaced. I remember for a while, New Mexico is very half Broncos, half Cowboys. Like, that's the dominant teams that you see around here in terms of collective fan bases. And there for a while, you would think New Mexico was squarely in the middle of Seattle and Carolina because there were so many Panthers fans and so many Seahawks fans just because that was the hot teams at the time. It's like I don't want to be unwelcoming, but at the same sense, like, where the fuck were you when we were sitting here year after year, 2-14, and now in New Mexico, all these Bucs fans, like. I struggle because I don't want to be unwelcoming. Like, I'm with you. I'm with Big Nasty. Like, if you want to root for my team and you want to be on board and you're a Bucs fan, great. But at the same time, if you was like a Seahawks fan, then a Panthers fan, and now Tom Brady is a Bucs fan, it's the trendy, like, that shit bothers me.
Does it? See, I laugh at that because I'm like, they know what they are. Like, you can't take them seriously.
I should just let them be them. But like, part of me, I'm like, but you weren't here. Like, I worked so hard to get Bucs fans together in New Mexico for them to just be hoarding all over all these different bars now. Where the hell were all of you when I was reaching out, dude? Like, in New Mexico, you can't meet another Bucs fan. Like, when I can't tell you how many times 2 Bucs fans will meet, they'll have a conversation, and they're like, "Oh, you know Nikki?" Like, oh my God, because I work my ass off to network around here. Who do you know? Who's a Bucs fan? Bring them. I have gifts. I spend my money to bring gifts to the Bucs fans here in New Mexico.
That's kind of like my being in Orlando, which was literally an hour and a half away. I swear to Moses, you could not find a group of Bucs fans until like mid-season or something like that. Like nobody would come out of the woodworks. I tell you what, you would see them at the draft party.
Yeah, I get them at the beginning of the season, and by mid-season, ain't nobody coming anymore.
You get them at the draft party, and then you get them mid-season all congregating, complaining about what the hell's going on. That was it. It was the weirdest damn thing, man. And I lived in Orlando for 17 years, and I have season tickets. I had 2 seats. You know how many times I had to go to the games by myself?
Oh yeah, I'll go with you.
Again, it's a 6-hour round trip for you.
Would I not? I mean, like, stop me. If I had a ticket, I'll be Venmoing you weekly payments.
Oh my God, man! But seriously, it is that it's just weird. It's funny because, again, bringing up the bandwagoners. And I have to go quote unquote when I say bandwagoners, but those cats that you were mentioning, got a different team jersey for whoever has a winning record, and they, hardcore this one week or this next year and that the following year. You know what those cats are. You can't take them seriously. Like,
yeah,
you just
I
can't.
guess it's just like, it's frustrating because, like, I want you to be on board. I want you to be on this team. I want you to love them the way I love them, but I know you don't love them. You know what I mean? Like, don't lie.
Now, you know what? Now, while we're on this topic, and this wasn't something I was gonna make a big issue of, but this is something that's gonna be a continuing conversation throughout the off season, at least the whole bandwagon fan and so forth. You have a unique perspective on this as well, for the fact that you are one of the moderators for the Buccaholics on Facebook. So you kind of see some of these. These posts that's coming in and out every single day, multiple posts, fans bickering about who was here first, explain your loyalty, such and such. What goes into that first and foremost, personally for you? Like, how do you react to some of these things? And then I also want to hear how you guys at the Buccaholics on the Facebook fan page, how you guys handle the handle that kind of traffic that comes in and out with those posts, as far as, accepting or denying certain posts, kind of, filtering out trolls or, stuff like that, if that's an issue, and how do you guys actually have to deal with it?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. We have a big team, and it's still a lot of work. I post about this often. I tend to be the one that puts the big announcements out when people have questions that we're seeing consistently. Like, I try to make one big post, and I'm very wordy. So sorry that my posts get long, but I'm the one that kind of is in a sense that we joke that I'm the communications captain because I try to put out the communications and fan relations here. But no, it's a lot of work, and I think that we get a lot of comments, and I don't spend a lot of time on other Bucs fan pages because it seems like there's a lot less moderation, and then they just kind of let people post what they'd like to, and that's fine. But we get a lot of comments that come in, and you'll see people say things like, dang, thank God for this Buccaholics page because, we're not just seeing negativity, or we're, I can't handle that page, but I can come here and I know that I have my fan family. We actually just trademarked and got it official. The fan family is now a trademark of Buccaholics also. So, but the Buccaholics in general, as a group, we're kind of built on 3 pillars, right? Respect, obviously the Bucs. So Bucs being like fan family, right? So respect is big for us, fan family, and charity. Obviously, I don't think we're as big on charity the way like What the Buck, because they have a whole other extension of their half like that. But we did $12,000 last year in charity. I wish, because we have 12,000 members, if people would give $1 each time, we could do a lot better with that. But it's hard to ask people for money. I get it.
I do it all the time. It's fun sometimes. It's
hard. It's hard to ask people for their money, and I know that everyone's like, well, everybody's got $1.50 to spare, But in terms of, to get back to your point and what the question was, is how do we moderate that, right? Well, we do a lot of making sure that we're not approving multiple posts. Like, nobody is breaking news anymore. Like, if it's been 2 hours since Tom Brady was signed, you don't need to post that Tom Brady was signed. Like, if you have a comment or some perspective about Tom Brady being signed, by all means, we will approve that. But if you're just resharing something that's been shared 18 times, we let maybe 2 or 3 of them go, and then we deny the rest of them. And it's just to keep the page a little cleaner. And like I said in my post recently, it's like, if you want to have a conversation about that, go post on somebody who's already shared that article or whatever that is. We ask a lot of our members to, if somebody is being disrespectful, that I think that's my biggest issue with social media in general, is people lose their humanity. They forget that there's a human on the other side that's reading these comments. And so we really ask people to be respectful of each other. And if somebody is not, please report that to us, because we do take those things seriously. We are a fan family. We're big on that family. And so if we will kick people out of the group, because it's not even being a troll. You're just being disrespectful. and I think that's a lot of what we do. And how do we ask for help from the group, because we can't be on every thread and in everybody's comments all the time. Yeah. So we get a lot of people who report things. We put out our own PSAs quite regularly saying, hey, you guys, remember to keep your discussions respectful. We're all about a healthy debate, but we don't need to be personal. There is a human on the other side of this computer. So that's kind of how we deal with that. Did I answer the question?
No, you did. You definitely answered the question. You definitely addressed the question. There's no answering as far as right answer wrong.
But again, it is the big team. Like, all the captains, all the different state chapters, like anybody that we've brought on, and we're kind of being a little bit more selective in the way that we pursue chapters than we have in the past, because we've kind of jumped the gun on some captains and like gave them their own chapter and did logos, and it costs us $400 when we get a new logo and get the merchandise going. So it's not like we just create it and then it just happens. Like, this costs the Buccaholics as a group $400 each time we do a new chapter. So we're trying to make people aware of that, and making sure that we're appointing people who are committed to doing all the work. It's a lot of work to get watch parties going, and especially, sometimes it's like you have 3 or 4 people that come, and then mid-season they fall off, and to keep up that momentum, it's hard. and your phone goes off constantly. Like it's not an easy thing. And like I said, we're just trying to be more selective and make sure that people are committed to the values of the group itself, like being just a respectful human being and upholding that family. And you don't have to agree with us, and you don't have to agree with every move the team makes, but you don't have to bash the team, the brand either. You know, so kind of like that's where we're at with selecting people to, you know, lead their chapters. We really want leaders. We want people who are committed, and it is a lot of work. So I'm thankful for this team because they do a lot more than I do, to be honest. A lot of those Cali guys, the Vegas guys had something huge planned for the draft. And unfortunately we had to pull the plug on that, but you know, we have some upcoming West Coast games that are going to be really big for us. So I think Las Vegas, which everybody save your pennies because that's going to cost you $800 and a kidney to get into the top nosebleeds. Not even considering travel, but you know, Vegas is going to be big, and I think Denver's going to be big. So
I think the Denver game is going to be a huge deal.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be there. My dad and I go every time the Bucs and the Broncos play, so I'll be there for that for sure.
You know, before we move on from that, I do want to make sure that that you address that you guys, being the Buccaholics and the fan family, you guys, of course, that's a new registered trademark and everything, and you guys are opening the doors for others to start their own chapter and not their own chapter, but in a different state and so forth. And right now, how many states do you guys have representatives? I know there's a California. There's
oh God, I don't know the number off top of my head. We're kind of doing it different now. So like we're doing unofficial chapters. If we have somebody that reaches out and has read kind of I put out a big statement the other day about kind of the process and what we're looking for and who this person should be that's going to lead the charge in their own state. So what we're doing is if people ask us for permission to create a separate like sub page, we ask that you do ask for permission because we are a registered trademark for Buccaholics also. So we could take legal action if we wanted to, but we try to avoid that. Let's just have people play by the rules, and it goes really smoothly. But what we're doing is like Oregon has come on really strong in the recent weeks. So the guy reached out to me. I discussed it with the group, and we've decided to give them kind of an unofficial chapter where we're basically sponsoring them for the upcoming season, letting them know that there is a $400 price tag on kind of getting started. So we're asking for help from these chapters, not to say that they have to pay all $400, but like throughout the season, let's do raffles, let's do something in your local group to help us build that money. So when we do anoint them a chapter, you know, they can kind of help with that upfront cost. And it just helps, you know, we're 501c3 certified. So helps with the finances and stuff like that. And if you're in the captain's group, we talk a lot about what our account is at and kind of what we're going to put money towards and where we're putting charity. So it's really transparent. And I do try to push the guys that are kind of in control of the finances to be more transparent about that with the group, like the big group, just so that they know. Like for me, it's over explaining and being transparent builds trust. So that's kind of where we're going. How many chapters? I don't know. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but we can even do international. We have Ontario in Canada that is an official chapter.
Say what?
We have Mexico City that has an official chapter. Buccaholics UK is official. So
wait. I did not know about these international chapters. So there's Ontario, there's
Canada.
UK.
And Mexico City.
Man, I just became familiar with the Twitter group. I guess from Mexico City. Mexico. I apologize. I'm not sure if it's Mexico City or not. But it was a relatively new Twitter group that's been tweeting out a little bit, and just a startup group. I'm not sure if they were a part of Buccaholics or not. It seemed like they would have been bigger if they were, but I think I just got excited that there was a group in Mexico. A Bucs group.
And I don't know who that group is, but if they want to get in touch, I mean, I'm sure I'll share my info, by the end of this call. But I can connect you with that person, with the captain for Mexico, and we can go from there. So yeah.
You know what? Actually, I apologize. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but actually, it is Buccaholics Mexico. Oh. Sorry. So yeah.
There we go. So yes.
Yeah, they're just now getting, their legs under them as far as having a Twitter presence. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, I should have started one. I should have started.
It's starting the fan family, you know, like it's just. I would say if the Buccaholics had a tagline, like, what does it mean to be a Buccaholic? A, you're a Bucs fan, a diehard Bucs fan. But Buccaholics outside of Florida, we see this every year. So many people. I thought I was the only one.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the purpose behind the group in general, right? I don't know how many times I thought I was the only one to find this whole chapter and all these people, and now I have logos and shirts and flags and hats and anything you can think of with our logo on it. Like, oh God, that's a terrible picture of me. But it's the tagline. I thought I was the only one, and that's where it's very special to us. That's why it means a lot to us to be the fan family.
See, and I absolutely love that. I think on every podcast I've done so far, it's only been a few, but I've mentioned the fact that I felt that way as well. I was in Mississippi. I mean, I had no intentions of becoming a Florida resident. I had no intention of ever being even close to Florida. But I became a Bucs fan before I moved to Florida, and I've recently met some good Bucs fans who are from Memphis. One of my last guests, I apologize, my last guest right before you was another fan that I had last Friday. He's from Memphis, and same thing,
Have I connected you with Crunk Buck on Twitter? Crunk Buck?
Nah.
No?
No, explain this. Who is Crunk Buck?
Oh,
He's definitely sounding from Memphis.
Yeah, his name is George. On Twitter, he's Crunk Buck 4D1. He's been one of my best friends for several years. He's from Memphis. I actually helped him plan his move to Tampa. It's going on 2 years now.
Wow.
But he's from Memphis, and he's one of my best friends, and he used to be super, super active on Twitter. So I know he does a lot of like wrestling talk and stuff like that, but he's a big Bucs fan, and he's from Memphis now, living in Tampa.
Crunk Buck. That's another young fellow who's actually from Memphis as well. I forget his name. He's a big wrestling fan as well.
Derek. Shropnut.
Yeah.
Chropel.
Yeah. He's a big wrestling fan and a Bucs fan.
George and Derek, kind of way back in the Twitter days, they connected. We were all friends, and then they actually would get together every so often to watch games. But yeah, George and I have been really good friends for several years. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I'm all about the Memphis, Mississippi connection as far as getting Bucs talk going, and just Bucs talk in general.
For sure.
It's just so funny because in my area, or in that area there, you had the teams that were televised they were televised most of the time. Like we had the Cowboys being televised all the time. We had Atlanta back in the late '90s or mid '90s as well, that were being televised. It was Dallas, Atlanta. There was who else? Chicago. We got a lot of Chicago games because of WGN. Most of the time they did, baseball games and so forth. But for some reason, I don't know why we ended up having Chicago games in Mississippi. I'm just like, all right, whatever the hell, man. Just let me see the games. And so we touched on this just a little bit, going back to the current state of the Bucs and of course the switch out between the quarterbacks with Tom Brady. Tom Brady's coming in, older guy. Do you see other than his age? I know you don't pay attention to a lot of the minute details and so forth. Do you feel like any kind of certain way as far as like what he would be bringing to this team other than experience?
I don't know necessarily, because I obviously I'm not a Patriots fan. I don't follow the Patriots and what he brings to their locker room. The things that I have caught glimpses of, him donating, meals or money to help the Tampa community during this time. Yeah. That's cool. He's already getting in there in the community. That's great. I know Jameis did a lot of that. So I have nothing bad to say, but I don't know him. I don't know what he brings to our team. I don't know. All I know is he's kind of an asshole from what I've seen, but I also don't pay that much attention to him. So
I'm not going to let you slide by with it. Where's the asshole stuff come from? What have you seen?
Well, I think he was being playful, but I remember seeing a video, or it was like an interview, like on a late night TV show with him several years ago. And I think he was being a little facetious and a little playful, but it was kind of a dick move, to be honest. But he was like, yeah, I've won 3 Super Bowls. My wife is a supermodel. I got more money than I know what to deal with. What else is there? Kind of thing. Like, he was kind of being a little pompous, but I think it was playful also. But it was just like, dang, like, fuck you. And then you see like again, I don't follow him. I'm not a Patriots fan. So, you see the things where people make fun of him, like always getting left when he's trying to give a high five and people kind of blow him off. So it's like, is there a lack of respect, or is like, I don't know what it is. I don't know those nuances of what happens, what he brings to us. Obviously, he's an upgrade. He's the greatest of all time. We'll probably never see what he did with the Patriots ever again in sports history to just have that much success. Obviously, I'm hopeful that he brings success, but I'm tired of being burned when it looks like we have a fantastic team. So I'm on the show me, don't tell me wagon. Yeah. I hope it, like I said, he's already touching the community. He's got experience. He's got even just that fire he's bringing to everybody else. Like, not even just fan base, but you're seeing players react. Yeah. Tom Brady's my quarterback. Like, sometimes it just takes believing in yourself, right? And believing in the team. So hopefully he's bringing, like, that energy is not just, watered down Kool-Aid.
Right.
Like, I'd love to drink the Kool-Aid and actually enjoy myself. Yeah.
But I'm like you in that sense, and I've always been that way, though. I've always been a bit of a skeptic. And and I had on Thomas Passenger from Tampa Bay Times, who he, just like he goes from being a skeptic to being, completely just being a hater, quote unquote, or whatever. But when you become a skeptic and you look at things like in different perspectives, people are going to think that you kind of, like you're just completely down on the team. Like, no, you tell it like it is, or you at least tell it from your perspective, and you try to give reasons for your perspective, which you have done, and all of it makes sense. You're not alone. That can be your tagline for the Buccaholics right there. You're not alone. But it all makes sense when you put perspective to things, at least, for your explanation. And again, I've talked to a lot of people who've made their way from being, super high up and, always thinking about the best outcome for everything to being where you are now. And like, hey, I just got to see it. Like, it can't just be on paper. Like, we've won. Kind of
sad. Like, in some ways, I'm kind of sad about the way I feel. Like, obviously, the passion for the team and the desire to win has never gone away. I'm still there 100%, but it's kind of sad to be like, you know what, I don't care. Like, they lost today, but that sucks. Like, and it's not, I feel like I'm being a little bit, what's the word? Like I'm kind of downplaying it a little bit, because it does suck. Every time we lose, it does suck. It still affects me. But I'm not letting it ruin my entire week. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
I mean, as a fan, I'm
the eternal optimist, and I'm not optimistic. I'm just not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Listen, Mom, I'm telling you, that's just being a realist, though. When it comes to the point where you be like, okay, we lost, or, something bad happened, it's just being a realist. Like, it happened. But I told you, like, there's been a few games over the past few years in which the loss just set on me. Like, I couldn't let go of it. I'm just like,
It's hard. It's so hard. And that's how that we wear our hearts on our sleeve as fans. I get it. I completely get it. But it just took too much out of me. Why was I so mad? I can't control it. Whether I want them to keep Jameis or let Jameis go or sign Tom Brady or sign Teddy Bridgewater, like, whatever I want ain't going to happen. I just have to, like, let it happen, and I'm there every Sunday.
Now,
100%.
Now, in doing that, have you been able to keep your wits about you in that sense where, like, let's go to, I guess, again, God, the third week I had to bring this up. But when it comes to, like, the biggest polarizing deal, it was the whole Jameis Winston, letting him go, fans who want to keep him, fans who want to let him go. Like, were you able to look at it in a certain way where you can see, like, the positives and the negatives, or were you definitely one of those people like, like I really, 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 really want him to stay, or I really, really, really wanted him to go, and then it just came out some kind of way, be it positive or negative.
Right, and then you're like, okay, I accept this because this is what it is, right? No, I think I'm a little more in the middle. There's a lot of things about Jameis. I personally think the most ideal situation would have been for him to stay and play behind Brady. I know that won't happen. I get it for a lot of reasons. Financially, I get it. Pride, I get it. There's a lot of reasons why that wouldn't happen. But personally, I thought that was a good fit because, A, we're not letting go of one of the best quarterbacks we've ever had. And at the same time, we invested a first-round draft pick, like a first overall pick in him. Like, he could still be the future of our franchise if he'd be willing to sit behind the greatest of all time, learn a little bit more, clean some things up that need to be cleaned up. And again, the interceptions, like, fuck that shit, dude. Honestly, like, that shit bothers me on a whole other level. And it's not the fact that he has 30 of them. It's the fact that, like, tipped balls and receivers not running the correct routes or dropped passes, like, that shit that goes against him, and for that big number 30 that everybody harps on, like, that shit drive me crazy, and that's a whole other thing. But, like, that's a whole other deal. But, like,
you got to tell me about this whole other deal, because hit me.
Like, if the ball was tipped, but he threw it, how is that his fault? Like,
but it's,
I don't know. Like, but it's an interception,
right? That's that way. I mean, but it's that way across the league. That's not
it
just.
It is that way across the league. But if the league across the league they stopped counting tipped balls as interceptions, his number wouldn't be as bad.
Right, but then also the other number is that you have to compare and contrast to his wouldn't be that bad. Like, some guys would have like 2 interceptions to his 15, or 3 to his
and of
20,
course, it's
whatever.
relative, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like they harp on the number rather than digging deeper.
Right.
If every 30 of them were his fault, sure. Welcome, you know.
But
but like, I get it. But
you got people who just
on the number 30 and it's not all him.
Yeah.
Bothers me, but that's just the way it goes.
But it's just because people like that whole 30 for 30, whatever. I mean, if you watch football on any level, you know that tip passes happen, all kinds of bad shit happen, and he had nothing to do with, zero to do with. But people love to throw that 30 and 30 because it's just it's funny to say.
Because it's flashy,
right? Because it's funny to say.
Negatively flashy, but it's flashy,
right? So you just got people saying that. I was one of those people who didn't want him back. I didn't even want to have the 5th-year option. I mean, that was just me after seeing a lot of stuff. Just not because I didn't like him or anything like that. I just kind of saw a pattern of.
You saw enough.
I seen enough. By the 2017 season, I kind of saw by mid 2017 season, I started looking back at other quarterbacks from their rookie year and started seeing when they started playing and becoming a starter, how their level of progression went and everything. And he was, for me, this is just my opinion, he was behind schedule. And it had got to a point where I'm like, okay, well, great. If he has a great 4th season, that just means that you have to give him a 5th-year extension to see what he'll look like, to see if he can have a back-to-back good season. Because without consistency or at least a tendency of having good seasons or whatever, and a consecutive manager, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous way to go.
It is, and I don't think that that's invalid in the slightest. Like, for me, I see that, and I see the opposite, right? So to get back to the root of your question, as where was I sitting?
Yeah.
I saw reasons to let him go, and I saw reasons to keep him. So either way, for me, it don't matter. The team is going to do what they're going to do, and I'm going to be there on Sunday.
And it didn't affect you. You didn't go about your day, being super high, being super low about either.
I don't know the kid. He's seen from everybody that I know that has personal relationships with him. I hear nothing but great things.
Yeah.
His family that one time, and they were fantastic. Good on you, man. Like, I'm happy. I hope you have success. I mean, like, I don't want you to go win no Super Bowl until we get another one. But like, if you ain't here, you're not on my team. I'm about the brand. I support the kid. I have no issue with the kid. I hope for somebody who has a passion, I want them to live that to their fullest, right? He's obviously passionate about being a quarterback in the league. And I hope he can improve and get better and follow his dreams. Like, why would I personally, like, it's not a personal thing for me. this was the business decision that they made, and whether they kept him or whether they let him go, I'm still a Bucs fan. I'm still going to be here on Sunday. Like, that's just kind of bottom line.
Love it, love it. And again, just so you know, that mirrors exactly what Hall of Fame Big Nasty, that's exactly what he said. It was the exact same thing. He roots for the team. If he was one of Jameis Winston's biggest supporters, he wants to see him do well. But if we play him in any world, it's all about the Bucs. There's no shaking hands. It's you're about the team that you're rooting for.
Yep. It's like, to use Derek's line for so many years, it's the name on the front of the jersey, not the back. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I am a Buccaneers brand fan. You know what I mean? Like, right. Obviously, some things that the team has done on the field have made me quite embarrassed. I wouldn't be this jaded if it wasn't, but you know, it is what it is. It's my life, and this is the life I choose, and I choose it every single day. And
I fucking love it. Now, you spoke about the name being on the front of the jersey, not on the back. What did you think about the rollout of the new jerseys that we'll probably be wearing next year?
So maybe unpopular opinion, but I didn't hate the other ones personally. I just didn't hate them. I know that there was a big issue with the clock numbers, and the way that the marketing team introduced them was diamond cut. And I think if you look at them at a perspective of being diamond cut, I kind of understood what they were going for. So for me, that took away, like, I could frame it that way so it didn't bother me as a clock number the way it bothered a lot of people. So I didn't hate the jerseys personally. Not my favorite things in the world. The Super Bowl era jerseys are still my favorite. So I guess I was happy with the reveal. I think the all pewter jersey is very unique to us, and I'm kind of sad that we haven't done more of that previously. So that was a cool treat. But, you know, to be so similar to the Super Bowl era jerseys, it's just kind of an evolution of it, and I liked them. So I really have nothing bad to say. But again, I was not a hater on the others. I love fan culture and fan history, and those jerseys, alarm clock number jerseys, like, they're part of our history, and they're part of who we are as a fan base.
Yeah.
So I didn't hate them, but I like the new ones too. So
yeah, we're the only team that had a font like that on any jersey, on any merchandise, as far as I know. Like, that is the most unique jersey in the history of freaking NFL, to my knowledge.
Which I think that's kind of cool. Like, it's different.
Yeah,
but
I didn't. You know what? I didn't hate the last jerseys. I really did not. I hated the reveal of the last jerseys. Like, I hated the moment. I swear to goodness, I can honestly walk to where I was, and I was actually shooting a commercial in Tampa, and I looked at my phone. I knew the reveal was happening. I looked at my phone, and I saw that photo of Doug Martin in a profile weird freaking running motion. And I was like, that is the worst photo. It just looks terrible. Like, the photo looked terrible. The background looked terrible. And I'm just like, what the is this? Like, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, somebody photoshopped
I do think that our marketing team, because, like, this is kind of where, going back to my old days of passion and where the drive came to work for the team and all that stuff. But our marketing team for a long time was so bad. Like so bad. And I feel like over the last several seasons, everything has gotten better. The in-game experience has gotten better. Even the social media stuff has gotten better. The graphics, the videos, like, all of that stuff for a long time back when you and I first discussed my passions and wanting to work for the team and how do you spread that passion to others? Well, we have a shitty marketing team.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I do. I feel like our marketing, whoever's there now and whoever's, in charge of, like, sideline direction and in-game promotions, I think it's gotten a lot better.
No, they definitely want a cooler. They definitely have a whole lot of cool stuff as far as their marketing goes. I actually worked with one of their marketing teams, which is actually based out of Oregon, which made sense because they were, in the same area in which Nike was from. But there was a group that they worked with called Mutt Film out of Oregon, and I shot the season ticket commercial for them back when Lovie Smith, his first year, and all those cats. And yeah, like, and they also did the season ticket packaging, like all the stuff that comes in anybody who's a season ticket holder, all of the
Right.
they did all of that kind of stuff. So they were fine, but they moved everything to in-house. I don't know if they do the packaging still in-house, but they moved all of the media stuff. They moved that to in-house. But yeah, that was a weird transition for those cats. Like they definitely didn't have a great marketing team. I have to say relative, a great marketing team based on what I know, being that I work in commercials and do all that kind of stuff.
For sure. I just think that to summarize, right, like I think we've gotten better with the way that we do things.
Yeah.
In terms of putting things out in the public. I just think it's much improved. And even in-game stuff, I think, is much improved.
Yeah, it's definitely a great experience, especially with the new, their latest upgrades that they've been doing to the stadium with the bigger screens and the sound system and all that stuff. That's
and the team store.
And the
I
team
was
store.
like, why don't we have a team store? You know?
I tell you what was crazy though was that I could never get into that damn team store, man. Like every time I go there, I usually go there right before the game. Like I'm always there. I don't think I've gone to that team store more than once.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, I can't get in it. They won't
I
let me
spent
in.
way too much money.
Have you?
Yeah.
What jersey? I'm sorry. What was the last jersey you bought though? What was the first jersey
I don't
you got?
buy jerseys anymore. I don't do player jerseys anymore.
Smart woman.
Yeah, I only buy princess jerseys. I buy princess jerseys because they can't cut and trade me.
No, they cannot. You're a smart woman for doing it. I've never been a jersey guy, so I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was so this photo that I'm showing you here. I probably have to cut this out of the podcast because it's audio. But this is the very first photo that they sent, and I hated it. Like I absolutely hate. Like he looks so weird in this photo. I was just like, what the is this? This has got to be fake.
Sad about Doug Martin. I liked him.
I love Doug Martin. Doug Martin was one of my favorite guys. I had a whole lot of expectation for him. He didn't do himself a whole lot of favors by trying to transform him. I apologize. Let me start this over. I don't think he did himself a whole lot of favors by trying to transform himself with the whole, he started gaining a lot of weight to become a different kind of running back and start doing things differently. I thought that kind of shook him up a little bit. But
Yeah, I could do that.
he was a good guy. You know what? We've covered so much, and again, I want to thank you for your time. We've been over just a little bit out here, and I want to let you get back to young Derek. Is he asleep?
No, he should be eating dinner now.
All right. So we covered everything that I wanted to talk about, and we touched on the Buccaholics and their new basically invite for anybody who wants to start their own chapter in whatever state they may be in. Was there anything else that you kind of wanted to touch on? Just anything that you had as far as, again, we know your expectations are what they are as far as your fandom and everything. Was there anything that you wanted to touch on before we get out of here?
I don't think so. I think we've had a really fun discussion. I've had a great time with you. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. I know we don't get as much time as we used to, but I'm thankful that you wanted me here, even though I told you that I don't give a fuck.
I needed somebody, again, I swear to you, I needed as much perspective. I need as many different perspectives as I can possibly get. I consider you a hardcore fan still.
And that's very true. And I told you, I think behind closed doors in our discussion, it's like, I hate to say I don't care, but it's the only way for me to really phrase how I feel. Like, I don't care, but I do. Like I don't care about all that little shit. I just care about being a Bucs fan, if that makes any sense in the world.
That makes all the sense in the world, because there's so many people who are exactly like you. And honest to goodness, when all these conversations end, the conversations with Chris Fisher and with Derek and Big Nasty.
I'm in like a high collection of people. Wow.
Hey, I'm telling you, I go for people that know, and I go for people who feel. I keep using the word, and who are passionate, or at least were passionate, and they still are Bucs fans. Like that's the necessary conversations that I would rather hear. I mean, there's a lot of Bucs content, a lot of people doing a whole lot of different things out there. I'm interested in getting as many perspectives, whether they're mine or not. I just want to talk to people who have a different outlook on things, and I want to give them a chance to explain if they want to, how they got to that point. Because there's a lot of fans who feel like they feel. And a lot of people who like you, just like you mentioned with the Buccaholics, there's a lot of people who didn't know that, someone else felt that way, if somebody else was in the same space that they were. And I'm sure, I'm sure you probably felt that way as well. You felt like you were jaded. Like, nah, you don't fucking know. Like, there's a lot of people who are so much in the same boat.
I just feel like a walking oxymoron. It's like, I don't give a fuck, but yet this shit runs in my blood, right? And then the other part of that is kind of like, what was the last thing you just said? It triggered me. Fuck. Oh, I don't remember. But that's how I feel. It's like what I'm saying and what I'm feeling, they don't seem to line up, but it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
If that, yeah.
But that's...
It's like, I really don't give a fuck. But at the same time, like, I love nothing more than the Bucs.
Right. I mean, that's fandom. That's mature fandom. That's knowing when to fucking hold them, fold them, and go about your goddamn business and just be a fan and not try to be, somebody who can fucking work shit through telepathy and through wants and wishes. You just kind of let shit go. And just fucking be a spectator.
I used to be one of those fans that people would tweet me constantly, like, "Hey, what do you think about this? What's your perspective?" And I feel bad now because I'm like, I don't care.
But I want you to understand, though. Again, I'm gonna let you get out of here. I want you to understand that what you've been speaking to me, what you've been speaking to me about over the last hour and so forth, is exactly, again, how a lot of other fans feel, and it all makes sense because you're just a maturing fan. You're a fan who's been evolving with the team. You've been going the same route as the team, and the shit makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, how do you be
jaded and optimistic at the same time? It doesn't make sense, but that's where I'm at.
I think it's called balance, Ma. It's fucking balance. You're right there where you need to be. Well, Ma, once again, I want to thank you for your time. You've been lovely. I hate that I don't get to talk to you as much, and I miss
Anytime.
you.
I'm here. I miss you too, man.
All right. Well, we're gonna get this out to some folks. The princess was here.
Oh.
So yeah, you guys have been listening to Outside Leverage. I'm Robert Green. You're welcome.